The House on Fifth Street, The Girl and the Statue. Chapter 1. The House on Fifth Street. The house on Fifth Street slept quietly beneath the cool autumn clouds like an ancient and cursed relic, undiscovered and unseen by all but the most unfortunate. With an ugly, crumbling roof and a chimney that rarely smoked these days, the house was little more than a broken-down shack. Once proud walls were now the stained brown of rotten teeth, like an old gingerbread house past its expiration date. At least, that's how it would look to anyone who did notice the house, or, more accurately, to anyone the house noticed first. Sightless windows clouded by the dust and silvery autumn mist of time stared out, the sad, blind eyes of a building long since forgotten. On any given day, dozens of people walked past the house, and though some might feel a light tickle of discomfort that raised the hair along the backs of their necks, most slipped past the house like they would an empty parking lot, giving it as much notice as one might give a crushed ant hidden in the long grass. And that was just the way the house liked it. You see, the house on Fifth Street held a powerful secret, and was very particular with whom it shared that secret. Nobody really noticed the house unless it noticed them first. 6 times it had noticed somebody interesting, and 6 times it had been sorely disappointed. On the cold, blustery October day our story begins, a 7th soul shambled past, unaware of the role he would soon be cast into. He was a tall, disheveled boy in a baggy, worn-out gray sweater and stained blue pants. His slightly too long arms were clasped to his body to ward off the crisp autumn air, which would only get colder as the days began their turn towards winter. Chocolate brown eyes watched everything and nothing, searching for something without hope. The house stirred and sighed, sending out a ghostly breath that rattled the shutters of the leaky windows. The ancient coal furnace in the basement coughed out a black plume of smoke, clearing its old throat and taking its first grumbling breath in several weeks. A single light hanging from a rusted chain in the basement shivered and blinked as the house awoke. The boy stopped when he was standing directly in front of the house. An invisible shiver ran down his spine, and the hairs on his arms stood on end, bending slightly to the right like hundreds of tiny pointing fingers. Swallowing a sudden lump in his throat, the boy turned nervous eyes to the broken-down house. This was how the house on Fifth Street met Danso Pilkin.